JJ Redick just broke his silence, and what he revealed about Luka Doncic is sending shockwaves across the internet. According to Redick, there's a secret from their time on the court that could seriously damage Luka's reputation, and fans are already reacting to what might be career-altering information. Here's everything JJ Redick leaked, why it's so explosive, and how it could change Luka Doncic's image forever. On March 1st, 2026, the Los Angeles Lakers traveled to Chase Center in San Francisco to face the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers snapped a 3-game losing streak over the weekend by taking it to the shorthanded Warriors at Chase Center on Saturday night, winning 129-101. It was a needed release of frustration for Los Angeles after a blowout loss at the hands of the Celtics. It was followed by 2 narrow defeats by 4 points combined. But the scoreline was not what anyone was talking about after the game. One moment from the victory over Golden State followed the Lakers into the following week. Over the last few days, a clip of Luka Doncic appearing to bicker with coach JJ Redick on the LA sideline went viral. So here is what happened. The clip in question occurred during LA's 129-101 road win over the Golden State Warriors, when Doncic was subbed out of the game and walked to his seat on the bench, without accepting Redick's fist bump. Now, the backstory to the sub is important. As brilliant an offensive genius as Luka is, his defensive awareness and effort leave much to be desired. In that match against the Warriors, Luka's miscues were on full display, leading to a putback by Warriors rookie Will Richard and a 3-pointer by DeAnthony Melton. Having seen enough, Redick called for LeBron James to take Luka out, but the latter signaled that he wanted to stay and finish the final 106 of the first. However, Redick was determined to send Doncic to the bench, something the 6'7" point guard took offense at and made no secret of hiding, when he brushed his coach off on his way to taking a seat at the end of the bench. As Luka was trying to walk towards the end of the bench, past Redick, the coach tried to grab his arm to talk to him. Luka kept walking, seeming as if he was shrugging off his coach's comments. Redick followed him and continued to talk to him when Luka took his seat on the Lakers bench. Now, a lip reader by the name of Legend Z on social media decoded what was actually said in that exchange, and this is where the story takes a turn. According to the decoded audio, Redick walked up to Doncic and said, "What's your problem, huh? You pushed my hand away. What are you upset about?" Luka responded by saying he did not push Redick's hand away. And that is when JJ Redick dropped the line that sent the internet into a frenzy. He told Luka, "Sit the FK down." After Luka said that he didn't push JJ's hand away, the coach ended the conversation by saying, "Sit the FK down." Realizing what his coach had said, Luka stood up, apparently trying to engage JJ in another conversation. After Redick cleared the area and Doncic sprung to his feet to bark more at his coach, Lakers forward Jared Vanderbilt stood up from his seat and clapped his hands to put a barrier between the two. A teammate reached over to grab Luka's arm, while Jared Vanderbilt stood up to dance to some music, a bit as if to block Luka from going after Redick. Luka then shook his head and sat back down. That Vanderbilt move, by the way, is one of the best teammate plays you will ever see. A fan on X, formerly Twitter, summed it up perfectly. Vanderbilt's ability here to clearly try and diffuse while optically making it seem that he's cheering is incredible. Naturally, the clip spread across every social media platform. While those two wins look good, the sideline confrontation between head coach JJ Redick and Luka Doncic went viral online, with fans discussing what it could mean for their dynamic with the Lakers. Fans reacted with various comments about what they saw in the viral X clip, including several defending Redick as the team's coach. Some fans took JJ's side. One commenter wrote, "At least you should respect your coach. You can't be bigger than the team." Another said, "I respect the fact that JJ will hold his stars accountable. He was clearly pissed at Luka and got in his face to send a message to him about it. Good coaches hold their stars accountable." But then the other side chimed in too. JJ Redick may not last long with the Lakers if Luka requests a trade, one commenter wrote. Others predicted Redick would be fired. Now here's where the conversation gets more interesting. What exactly happened behind the scenes after that clip went around the world? In the days after the clip went viral, the basketball world waited for some kind of response. Would Luka demand a trade? Would Redick apologize? Was there real tension? Or was this the latest social media overreaction? JJ Redick decided to address the situation head-on before the Lakers' next game against the New Orleans Pelicans on Tuesday. After the testy bench exchange between JJ Redick and Luka Doncic made the rounds on the internet, the Los Angeles Lakers coach said he didn't know why the interaction warranted extra attention. "I don't know why it went viral," Redick said before the Lakers' 110-101 win over the New Orleans Pelicans on Tuesday. "It felt very normal to me." That line, "it felt very normal to me," is important. Redick was not deflecting. He was not spinning. He was stating, as a matter of fact, that this kind of exchange is routine for him and Doncic. He then went deeper. I didn't think much of it at the time, to be honest with you, Redick said. I don't think Luka did either. He and I have a great relationship. I really value our relationship, and I think those things happen. Not every game, but they happen very frequently. And sometimes you have to rehash them with a player or as a teammate. Sometimes it happens player to player. It's a competition. And there's two guys here who, in this case, are trying to win a basketball game and be on the same page about stuff. And it did not stop there. Redick revealed that he and Luka had already talked about the clip going viral. I was talking to Luka about it. We were actually laughing about it. I was like, I didn't feel any tension. He was like, nah, I didn't care about it. You do it and you move on. I think the reality is, everybody is going to always have an opinion. Since pro sports have existed, everybody has always had an opinion. There's been sports talk, there's been barbershops, chat rooms, so there it is. Redick's position is clear. This was two competitors in the heat of a game wanting the same thing, to win. And when that desire clashes with an in-game decision, emotions bubble over. ESPN backed up Redick's statements with their own reporting. When asked about the Redick-Doncic moment, a Lakers source dismissed any deeper meaning, telling ESPN, "Find me a star on a 3-game losing streak in the NBA that isn't frustrated." A source close to Doncic told ESPN that the two have a strong, close relationship, adding that they are both fiercely competitive and are always pushing each other. Even super agent Rich Paul weighed in. Rich Paul sees it differently. The moment came as Doncic checked out of the game. Redick appeared to say something as the star guard walked toward the bench. Doncic kept moving. Redick followed. Words were exchanged. Then it cooled off. Paul spoke on the Game Over podcast and offered a different framing entirely. That leads to a healthy relationship. That means there's a profound respect for the player, and should be a profound respect for the coach, Rich Paul said. When things happen in such a media-robust environment, we're looking for the drama of it all. The reality of it is, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to do a high-level job. The fact that there's care shown, passion shown, and competitive nature shown, I think that's healthy. So we now have Redick himself, multiple ESPN sources, a source close to Doncic, and Rich Paul all saying the same thing, and this was a non-issue. But then, why did so many people treat it like the beginning of the end for the Lakers? To answer that, we need to look at the context surrounding Luka Doncic leading up to that Warriors game. Here is where the story connects to something larger, because the sideline confrontation did not happen in a vacuum. For weeks before that Warriors game, the conversation around Luka Doncic had been building. Los Angeles Lakers star Luka Doncic has been under a microscope in recent weeks, with a lot of criticism being thrown his way for complaining at the officials and not putting in effort on defense. This criticism was not coming from random social media accounts. This was coming from former players, analysts, and coaches. Take former NBA Coach of the Year Sam Mitchell, for example. He went on record saying, "Who really wants to play with Luka?" Mitchell did not stop there. The problem is, if you're a young player who wants to play basketball, run, cut, move, and play both ends of the floor, how are you going to feel when your best player, your star player, don't play defense, and nothing is said to him, and everybody else is held to a different accountability? Then there was Jay Williams on ESPN's First Take. "I think Luka is one of the most talented players I've ever seen. But I think he has losing habits. I think he has bad habits." ESPN's Brian Windhorst was even more direct. "His defensive performance is unacceptable. He is a hole on the court," Windhorst said. And you've got a situation here where Luka is complaining about the officiating. They have begged him, they have talked with him, they have pleaded with him. He is costing his team because of how he treats the officials. Fox Sports host Colin Cowherd added his own observation. Cowherd noted Doncic receives 4 times more technicals than dunks, arguing the guard's athleticism is regressing. And then former 3-time NBA champion Bruce Bowen chimed in, connecting Luka's current situation to the reason he was traded from Dallas in the first place. While trades happen in the NBA all the time, the Dallas Mavericks trade of Luka Doncic was a transaction nobody in the league or among hoop fans ever imagined would happen. After all, Doncic is a generational player, someone whose mere presence alone drives ticket sales up and elevates a franchise's profile. However, the reality is it did happen, and it showed that regardless of how well Luka had played up to that point, he wasn't infallible or untouchable. According to Bowen, it should have also been a wake-up call for the point guard to sharpen his game and clean up whatever stains his game has. Unfortunately, Bowen noted that it hasn't happened during his stint with the Los Angeles Lakers. Hopes were high that Luka would silence the critics who questioned his conditioning during his tenure with the Mavs, a factor that pundits claimed ultimately led to his trade. Bowen said, "You would think that the failure of being traded would have shown Luka something. You would think he would say, 'Man, I need to get myself together.' I need to make sure that the version they saw in Dallas is not the version they'll ever see with me as a Los Angeles Laker. But what I see is that some of those remnants are still showing up. Old habits die hard. The numbers back up some of that criticism. This season, Doncic has a defensive rating of 114, the worst of his career. Overall, the Lakers have a 116.1 defensive rating, which ranks 21st in the league. This team has struggled against winning teams with a 14-19 record. Bill Simmons and Max Kellerman discussed this on their show. Simmons said, the first time the Laker fans are really getting the other side of the Luka package. With the whining after every call, with the just not getting back on defense. All the little stuff, the stuff that Dallas got fed up with. So when Redick told Luka to sit down on that sideline, it was not just about one substitution. It was a microcosm of everything the basketball world had been saying about Luka Doncic for weeks. The question became, is Redick the one person who can actually get through to him? Now here is the other side of the coin. Because for every person criticizing Luka Doncic, there are stats and people pushing back. Let us start with the numbers. Overall, Doncic is averaging 32.5 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.5 assists a game, while shooting 47.5% from the field and 36.2% from three-point range. He is leading the league in scoring average free throw attempts per game, 3-point tries per game, and made three-pointers per game. Doncic is leading the league with 32.5 points per night, and the Lakers' offensive rating of 120.6 in his minutes on the floor would rank number 1 in the NBA across a full season. It isn't his most efficient season, and his turnovers are up year over year. But Redick clearly knows how to design an offense with Doncic as the conductor. And the trade for Doncic, on February 2nd, 2025, Doncic was traded alongside Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Max Christie, Anthony Davis, and a 2029 first-round pick. That is a franchise-altering deal, and the Lakers followed it up by committing to him long-term. On August 2nd, 2025, Doncic and the Lakers agreed to a 3-year, $165 million contract extension. This season, he has been doing things historically. On October 31st, Doncic posted 44 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists for the Lakers in a 117-112 win over the Memphis Grizzlies. With that performance, he became the second player in NBA history to start a season with 3 consecutive games of at least 40 points, joining Wilt Chamberlain. On December 18th, Doncic put up his 85th career triple-double with 45 points, 11 rebounds, and 14 assists, alongside 5 steals in a 143-135 win over the Utah Jazz. He also joined Magic Johnson, Elgin Baylor, and Jerry West as the only players to put up a 40-point triple-double in Lakers franchise history. In the very game where the sideline confrontation happened, after a quiet first half, Doncic erupted in the third quarter. On his 27th birthday, drilling 4 three-pointers and pouring in 16 points in the period alone, he finished with 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in just 29 minutes as Los Angeles snapped a 3-game skid to move to 35-24. If there was frustration, it translated into execution. Redick himself has been one of Luka's biggest defenders publicly. Before a recent game against the Indiana Pacers, Redick spoke about the constant criticism of Luka's defense. I think it's easy to create a montage of clips of any player. Redick said, we can create the same montage of good clips of containing the basketball. I know that it's easy to pick on him right now, but his defense has been good. He then went a step further. Look, I think he's a special kind of player, special kind of person, and a special kind of competitor, Redick said before Friday's game against the Pacers. I would much rather have someone who is trying to go out every night and kill than someone you have to revive with a defibrillator every other day. So I'll take Luka all day long. Despite his defensive issues, the Lakers are still 4.4 points better with him on the floor, underscoring how much his offense offsets any defensive shortcomings. And here is what is interesting about Redick's coaching approach. He is a first-time head coach, yes. Redick is in his first stint as an NBA head coach, taking over the Lakers in 2024. But he played in the NBA for 15 years. He knows what it takes to compete at the highest level. Redick is a former player and a known competitor. That moment on the sideline, where he told Luka to sit down, that was not disrespect. That was a coach who refuses to let his star player operate outside the framework of the team, even for a second. Redick giving him the business is what a head coach should be doing. Players are the bread and butter, but it's the coach's locker room at the end of the day. And Luka himself? He has heard the noise. He knows what people are saying. After a recent win over the Knicks where the Lakers' defense was locked in, Doncic spoke about it. It was great since the start of the game. I think everybody was real locked in, especially on the defensive end, Doncic said. We did a great job against a team like New York. He also acknowledged the work he's putting in to improve. I know people are not going to talk about it. Never. Just trying to do my job, he said after the win. Be more aggressive, more engaged, just trying to be better on the defensive end. I think we just talked about it during the season a lot, that we definitely need to be a better defensive team, Doncic said during his post-game press conference. So there is a version of events where the confrontation between Redick and Doncic was not a fracture. It was accountability, and the results since then seem to support that reading. So where does this leave the Lakers? Let us look at the state of play. The Los Angeles Lakers have a record of 39-25. Things are already looking up in Los Angeles. The Lakers not only won Saturday's contest, but enter play Wednesday on a 3-game winning streak. Since the confrontation, Luka has gone on a tear. LA won its next game, too, 128-104 over the Sacramento Kings, with Doncic putting up 28 points and 9 assists. Then they beat the Pelicans 110-101. Doncic registered 44 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks and 3 steals over 32 minutes during Friday's 128-117 victory over Indiana. Doncic recorded 35 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes during Sunday's 110-97 win over the Knicks. Doncic's performance adds to a string of stellar play as he has averaged 32.2 points, 8.2 rebounds, 7.3 assists, and 1.8 steals in 34.5 minutes per contest over his last 6 appearances. The Lakers have shown some improvement on the defensive end very recently. They have won 4 of their last 5 games, and during that time they have ranked 8th in the NBA in defensive rating. Redick has maintained that he shares a strong relationship with Doncic, and that passionate exchanges like this are just part of competitive basketball. The Lakers have gone on a 3-game winning streak since that game, which shows that whatever tension existed has not affected their performance on the court. But the bigger questions remain. There are problems with the team, and they are significant with the playoffs just over a month away. When LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves all share the floor, the Los Angeles Lakers are not at their best. The trio has a minus 1.1 net rating when it shares the court together. Meanwhile, when it is just Reeves and Doncic out there, the net rating is plus 6.8. James is no longer the defensive stalwart he once was, not even close, and Doncic has never been known for his defense. Offensively, there is also a ton of overlap among their skill sets. As ball-dominant superstars, Plan A for the Lakers, per competing executives and player agents, appears to be moving on from LeBron James to build around the younger star Luka Doncic, wrote Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report. Scouts across the league are skeptical that LA can defend well enough with a core of Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James. Some believe the Lakers have a ceiling this season. In 2026, the Lakers have a hard round 2 ceiling. This team has struggled against winning teams with a 14-19 record. The Lakers have a severe defense problem. The first issue is that their best players are not great defenders. James might be the best one at 41 years old, but he can only be so consistent. But here is the thing. The conversation around Luka and JJ Redick is not really about one sideline moment. It is about whether a first-time head coach can manage one of the most talented and most frustrating superstars in the NBA. It is about whether telling Luka Doncic to sit down is the kind of accountability that leads to championships, or the kind of friction that leads to another coaching change. If anything, this is probably a sign that both guys actually care about getting it right instead of just going through the motions in March. The Lakers would probably be more worried if Luka didn't react, and Redick just shrugged it off. In a league where everyone is constantly looking for drama, this one feels more like a quick flare-up between 2 competitors. They will probably be laughing about it the next time they win a big game together. And JJ Redick himself said it best when asked about dealing with outside noise. It just feels normal, which is probably part of the reason I wanted to coach the Lakers, Redick said with a laugh. Because when you coach the Lakers, everything gets amplified. Every sideline word, every substitution, every reaction. That is the deal you sign up for when you take the biggest job in basketball. And right now, JJ Redick is not running from it. He is not apologizing for it. He is coaching through it. The real test comes when the playoffs arrive. It is time Doncic buys into a system rather than being the system. He is still young and has plenty of time to make any necessary adjustments. And Luka is Luka, one of the best players in the league, searching desperately for his first NBA ring. That search continues. The sideline confrontation is over. The winning streak suggests the Lakers have moved past it. But the habits, the defense, the questions about fit, the pressure of a franchise that expects championships, all of that remains. If JJ Redick telling Luka Doncic to sit down is what it takes to keep this team honest, then maybe the so-called confrontation was exactly what the Lakers needed. Not a fracture, not the beginning of the end, just 2 people who refuse to lose, bumping heads on the way to trying to win something that matters. The real question is not whether JJ Redick and Luka Doncic can coexist, The real question is whether the rest of the roster around them is good enough to make that coexistence count when the games get real, in April and May, because right now at 39 and 25, the Lakers are right in the mix. Luka is leading the NBA in scoring and ranking third in assists, and ninth in defensive rebounds per game. The talent is there. The desire is there. The accountability clearly is there. What remains to be seen is whether it is enough. And that is the story of J.J. Redick breaking his silence about Luka Doncic. Not a terrifying secret. Not a team falling apart. Just basketball. Competitive, emotional, high-stakes basketball. And if you are a Lakers fan, that might be the most reassuring thing you have heard all season.